Hello everyone, it's Echo Music and I am back for another 911 Lone Star episode review. Today we are going to be talking about episode 44 titled Abandoned, and this episode was nuts. It was dark, it was stressful. I was shaking like the entire time. Like, it's a good thing I didn't pass out because I thought I might have it like at a couple points. So this episode kind of just picked up where we kind of left off. The last episode with Carlos getting knocked in the head with a shovel. It picks up a few hours later when he wakes up in this very unfamiliar place and is like, what the heck is going on? So let's watch some scenes and chat.
So deep you can dive into his head. I didn't do this, so you know. Poor thing had an unfortunate accident.
Ma'am? I need you to untie my hands, please.
I can't do that, sweetheart. My boy will be coming home soon, and I just know he'll want to meet you.
So as you can see, Carlos wakes up in this very unfamiliar place. He's in the kitchen of this older lady's house. He's tied to a sink pipe with zip ties and his legs are tied up. He has nowhere to go. And you quickly find out what kind of situation this is when he sees that dead lady in the closet. And I remember how the camera like panned to like Carlos's face and like you could clearly see the fear in his eyes. Like, oh man, how am I gonna get out of this? Am I even gonna get out, or am I gonna be killed? And that was so hard to see. The look in his eyes was like awful. It hurt me so much. And the thing that I was really worried about is Carlos is known to be sort of like a control freak, and this situation places him in a position where he is completely out of control. And that worried me because even though he's a cop and I'd hope he was trained for some sort of situation like this, him being a control freak and not being in control made me worried that he was going to freeze up and not know what to do. So that scared me. And then I want to talk about how he was like being very respectful to this woman. You know, he's calling her ma'am, saying please, and like this woman deserves no respect, but I think he was doing that to try and butter her up in a way so she would let him go.
He's a good one.
Yeah, he is. Except I think he's mad at me and he's not answering my text messages. And do you think I should just go over there?
Is that what you want to do?
Well, yeah, except I'm not sure if that's what I should do.
Well, then maybe just give him some space.
Yeah, except remember when you and Mom were gonna give each other space and then I got home from Little League and you were moving out? That's definitely not what I want for us, Dad.
Your mother and I had much deeper issues than that. Look, my gut tells me let Carlos be the one to reach out. I think that this Irish...
So this scene with Owen like pissed me off. Like TK, all he needed was some advice and some help from his dad, and his dad is just too busy with his stupid FBI crap to be able to help him and be there for his own son. Like, for me, I missed the season 1 of Owen because Owen was such a great father, I felt like, in season 1, and then it just kind of took a step back 2, 3, and 4, and I like feel so bad for TK because TK hasn't heard from Carlos. He's freaking out, and Owen is just completely blowing him off. And then Owen's giving him advice to, like, you know, give Carlos space. Like, Owen knows Carlos. No, TK knows Carlos the best. TK knows that Carlos wouldn't just ghost him, even if Carlos is mad at him. And I'm glad that TK did not take Owen's advice, and he ended up talking to Nancy and Grace, and good thing he found out that Carlos is in some serious danger, so we can get him out of it.
My knee is acting out.
But there's not enough here. I mean, look at the size of them.
Well, I don't want blood.
Well, I don't want blood either. Well, there's not enough to put him down, but there's enough to put him out. While I make sure no one finds that tunnel entrance.
Get the hell away from me.
Get the hell away from me! Get the hell away from me! Get off me! Get off me! Get the hell off me!
So here, Carlos meets the serial killer, Daryl. This is the guy that also took Iris. And man, this guy is creepy. Like, I was completely scared of him. And you see, this guy, Daryl, asked his mom, Trudy, to bring in a kit. This kit contains some sort of injectable medicine of some sort. And I remember when I watched the promo, whatever they were injecting into Carlos was the thing I was most terrified for, even more so than that giant knife that we see. And the reason being is because you don't exactly know what medicine it is. I mean, it could be anything, and we don't know what it's gonna do to Carlos. So that terrified me the most. And I was right to be terrified the most about that, because it seems like that this is what he is using to kill his victims. Now, the good thing about this is that since Trudy was having some sort of issues, she was using it, so he didn't have enough at the time to put Carlos down, because Carlos is super muscular compared to like these women victims that he was killing. So that was super good. I guess it has perks being muscular because it bought Carlos time to get himself out of this situation.
About 12% of houses in this neighborhood are just like this one. Run down, abandoned. You know what that attracts.
Criminal element.
That's right. Now, the last time anyone heard from your son was late at night outside this house in a shiny car that we cannot find.
So you're checking hospitals and morgues?
Yes.
My son's resourceful, and he can take care of himself.
I have no doubt that's how you raised him.
No, he figured that out all on his own.
Gabriel! Detective!
So here we see that TK has teamed up with Gabriel, Carlos's father, to help search for Carlos. And we see that they go back to that abandoned house, which is where Carlos found Iris, and it's where Carlos was last known to be. And you can definitely start to see that TK is really getting anxious, really getting worried, and man, all I wanted to do in this episode was hug TK. Like, I thought it was just going to be hard to watch Carlos being tortured at the hands of a serial killer, but man, in some ways it was even harder watching TK. And even though in the midst of all this worriness, like, TK ended up being super useful. He ended up finding in that abandoned house Donna Burton's ID. Now, Donna Burton was the woman that Iris went to look for when Iris went missing. So this actually convinces the detective that there is someone, that this isn't just all Iris's mental health. There is someone out there that is harming and abducting people.
No, it's okay. It's okay. No.
No, please stay quiet. I don't want to have to scrub up another mess.
So TK decides that he doesn't want to wait for officers to canvass the neighborhood and that he's going to go do it himself. And he ends up going to Trudy's house where Carlos is at. I mean, TK, oh my gosh, Carlos was so close. And Trudy ended up grabbing a knife before she met him at the door, and Carlos was able to see TK on like the door camera. And the thing that really struck me was the emotion in Carlos during that scene. Like, you could clearly tell that Carlos was so worried for TK. Like, Carlos is in this really bad situation where he could very well die, but he was more worried for TK in that situation. Like, he'd do everything possible to keep TK safe, even if it meant the cost of himself. And that's love right there. That's love. And another emotion that ran through, I think, Carlos's mind was, this could very well be the last time I see my fiance. And let me tell you, like, he had a tear running down his cheek, and that like completely broke me. I mean, lots of tears were shed in this episode, and tears were definitely shed in that scene.
We're not gonna find him alive, are we?
I have to believe that we will.
Right, because whoever killed these women, and that's what we're saying, is that they're all dead.
More than likely, yeah.
How are you so calm right now?
You don't think this is tearing me up? But I might have to go tell his mother? You're not the only one who loves him, TK. But if there are tears to weep, we do it when the time comes, not before.
Here at the police station scene, TK realizes that he may not find Carlos alive at the end of this, and that was heartbreaking to see. I mean, TK has been through so much, and like, this poor boy, he can't ever catch a break. And now for him to realize that the person he loves the most might be killed, I can't imagine how hard that must have been to fathom. And then you have Gabriel, Carlos's father, trying to remain calm, but he knows just as well what they might find at the end of this. And that's his son. Like, every parent's worst nightmare is to have to bury their own child. And I think even though it was hard for both of them, I think it was great that they had each other to rely on and to hold each other during this hard time and to keep each other up and continue with the search, even if it ends up having a heartbreakingly bad ending. This scene, honestly, I have 3 favorite scenes from this episode, and this was one of them. It was beautifully done. Great job to Benito and Ronan for this scene. It was really great.
We know.
You all homesteaded in different parts of the city. That's a wash.
They use different shelters. No connecting social workers.
No mutual friend groups. Where's the common thread?
They're all diagnosed with a mental disorder.
That's probably why they were all on the streets in the first place.
They all took various medication for their illness.
Already went down that road, but they all went to different clinics, had different doctors.
They all went to the same pharmacy.
So kind of after that little pep talk between Gabriel and TK, I think that gave TK the push to push on, not just to sit back and do nothing, but to figure this out. And TK here became like an incredible detective, way better than the other detective that we've talked about that I can't stand. TK was able to figure out the common thread that linked all the victims together. That was impressive because I think it was last season where TK thought a statue was a person. So talk about an improvement, TK. You're an unofficial detective now. And I think, TK, you should be hailed a hero for this, because this very well could be what have saved Carlos's life, was you figuring this out. Now, I gotta admit though, my therapist is gonna have a field day when I have to tell her that I no longer trust pharmacists. So thank you, Lone Star, for that.